It seems that this year I'm only making floral themes in my mom's bullet journal. It wasn't intentional, but I kinda love it. You can never go wrong with a floral tape, and this time I'm using one that I had in my stationery stash for a while. Also, something that I've been doing this year is using things that I have for a long time, and I'm quite happy to do it. Hi, I'm Juliana, and welcome back to another video. A little disclaimer here, I'm back in my studio, as you can see for the difference in the desk, but I'm still working on my camera setup and I forgot to stabilize the camera, so sometimes it will be a little shaky, so I'm so sorry. To do things a little differently, I decided to do waterfall tabs for this setup. It looks a little complicated, but it's actually quite simple. You just have to triple check your cutting lines before you do it, because I learn from my mistakes. I'm basically counting how many spreads I'm going to need for the setup, and then I'm going to the last spread and count 1 centimeter towards the spine. And to every previous spread, I'm adding 1 centimeter more. So the part that I'm removing is going to get progressively wider. It makes more sense watching what I'm doing, and I only made 1 centimeter because this journal is slightly smaller than an A5, it's the original size from Notebook Therapy, and I still need some page estate to make the actual setup, but you can do whatever length you want. This is the inspiration and the showstopper of this theme. It's the Petals en Blanc pre-cut white PET tape from the washi tape shop, and the other one I'm using is this green lace PET tape, also from the washi tape shop. This tape has a beautiful design. The lace on the sides is pre-cut, so it's very easy to put on the page, and it has a subtle sparkle, not noticeable on camera, but it's really pretty in real life. I'm going to alternate between these two tapes and putting them on the border of each spread, so that in the end, from the cover spread, you can see all the tabs side by side. It's going to look beautiful. It was very time consuming cutting around the edge of the lace for both tapes, but I think it was worth it in the end. I started of course with the main focus of the theme, that is the floral tape, and I put next to it on the left side another strip of the green lace tape, because for the right side you are also going to see that one, so that way the centerpiece is going to be the floral tape. I went over it with my X-Acto knife just because it overlaps with the spine of the journal, and then I have this sticker paper that I got from Runa Maruti's Patreon. It's from one of her monthly themes that I have access to, but it has the daisies and the design is quite similar, so I thought of using it throughout the setup, and I think it looks so good and it complements the colors really well. This sticker paper is very thin and almost transparent, so you can still see the dots of the paper below, and I think it helps it being a little more subtle. I wanted to complement the tapes, not driving the attention away from them. For the title, I'm using the font Gothenburg Michaelia. I got it from the website The Font. It's this elegant and swirly font which I think matches the vibe of the theme quite well. And then for the pen, I'm using the Pentel Footed Touch brush sign pen in the color olive green. I said it before and I say it now, this pen is my favorite to do lettering, especially if it's on the smaller side. It's very easy to control the strokes because the tip is hard, so it helps with it. And if you are starting to do lettering, I highly recommend these pens. Or at least start with the hard tip instead of the soft one, because, for example, the tombos are more trickier to control and they are better for bigger titles. If you want a smaller size lettering or a big title but dainty and elegant look, these pens are the way to go. I cut around the title the best I could because I wanted the daisies to still be visible underneath the title. And then I also went over the title again with the same pen just to deepen the color and make sure it makes a good contrast with the colors so it catches your attention. Another detail that I wanted to add to this theme are these butterflies and dragonflies sticker sheets. I think they are just the thing that this setup was missing, and it was actually a last minute decision, but I think it just brings the whole theme together. Okay, we are now moving on to the calendar spread, and this spread is going to be the smallest one in terms of width because of the waterfall tabs, and the spreads are going to get bigger and bigger as we go on. So this calendar has to be taller instead of wider. As I was setting up with my pencil first, as I always do, I had to remind myself to leave space for the tapes on the side, because otherwise the waterfall tabs wouldn't happen. So that means that the functional parts of each spread have to be thinner because of the tapes on the border. It isn't a big deal, I just had to be careful, otherwise I would have to change my layouts for each spread. For the setup, I'm also going to only use this muted green marker with the fine liner tip from Ohuhu. I actually damaged the tip a while ago because it fell from my desk, but I'm still trying to use it. I didn't want any black on this theme, and I think it looks much softer this way. To complement the other colors of the florals, I also decided to use this coral marker. I didn't have a muted, more subtle orange to match perfectly the tone of the center of the daisies, so I decided to just use one color that would look good together with the muted green and still be kinda the same color family of the florals. This time for the border we are putting the green lace instead of the floral one, and then since I don't have a lot of space for decoration, I'm just going to use the little empty pockets on the top and the bottom to put the paper with the daisies and the butterflies and dragonflies on top. And after writing the days of the week on top of the calendar, we are moving on to the weeklies. The first week is going to be from Sunday 1st to Sunday 8th, and for this first one I'm only doing the rectangles with the rounded corners, and I'm not decorating anything except for the tape on the border. This weekly is the smallest in terms of space, so I decided to compromise the decoration and give more space to the functional part, because even though I love decorating my bullet journal and my mom's, it's still a place to help our daily life, so of course the layout is still very important. And since the floral tape is wide, I decided to cut it in half. So that way I have more functional space and I can still use the other half later on another tab. The decoration is pretty much just the tape on the side, but I can still fill in a little bit more this spread. And the way to do it is bring more color. So I used the marker that I used before on the calendar to color in the first line of each rectangle, and this is where I'm going to write the day of the week and the number. And just with that detail, this spread looks so much better. That's it for the first week, so let's continue on to the second. This one is only going to have 7 days instead of 8 like the previous one, so it's kinda tricky to make sure the spread is balanced, and a good way to avoid that is dividing the space in a grid. I divided this one in 9 squares and I chose 2 of them to have decoration. In this case, it's the 2 on the top left corner. Also, if you need more inspiration for waterfall tabs, I am using some layouts that I did before in my August 2025 Plan With Me video, so I'll leave that linked down below if you want to check it out. I used the same marker again to color the first line of each square, just like I did before, and this time on the border we have the green lace tape. Then for decoration on the corner I put the paper with the daisies, a butterfly and a dragonfly. So very simple and minimal, but with a little bit of color. Moving on to the third weekly, I'm doing 7 days again, but this time I divided them in 3 columns. 2 of them with 2 sections and 1 in the middle with 3. It almost looks like a flower if it was in pixels. It's just something that I realized now while doing the voiceover. And I actually really like this layout. I think it's a little different and interesting to look at. And something that I don't love about waterfall tabs is that I have to cross the spine in almost every spread. In my other setups, I try to avoid the spine at all costs. I separate the calendar into 2 pages, but with the waterfall tabs the space is quite limited, so we can do that. But it still looks good and it's still functional. The ones on the middle can be a little trickier to write on, but it's still manageable. And then for the border we are using the other half of the floral tape that I cut previously. For the decoration here, I'm putting pieces of the lace tape and the daisies paper on the 4 corners of the spread, and also a butterfly and a dragonfly on top of the daisies, so that they can pop a little more, because if it was on top of the dark green lace tape, they would just disappear. We are now on the last weekly, and that means that I have 9 days in here. And that's because, just like the first week, I don't like to have 1 or 2 days hanging around separately, so I just combine them into the closest week. In this case, I put the 30 and the 31st of March together with the previous week. And since this is the weekly that has more space, that means that I can divide the spread in 12 squares, just as before, but instead of choosing squares that are together for the decoration, I'm choosing one here and there. This layout is one of the easiest to decorate, especially if you have a more minimal theme, just like this one, and it looks good and dynamic because of the decoration spots spread out on the pages. Of course, we have to color in the first line again with a marker in each section to stay consistent with the others, and the tape on the border is the green lace since we used the floral one on the previous spread. As you saw, I made a couple mistakes in this spread, but it's nothing that a little correction tape, a white paint marker, or decoration right on top can fix. So that's exactly what I did. I used the floral tape on 2 of the empty spots and the paper with the daisies on the other one. And just like before, I put a dragonfly on top of the daisies. Not because the floral tape is too dark to act as a background, but it's a little more busy than the daisies, so I think the daisies are still the better choice. And now moving on, we have the last spread of this setup, and as usual, it's the monthly expenses on the left and the brain dump on the right. It's also the last spread of the waterfall tabs, so it's the spread that has the most space, which helps a lot because for the expenses table, I need space to do it. I always make the same layout for this page, a simple table divided in 3 columns, and from left to right we have the item, the date and the price. And then on the bottom we have a total section to sum the total amount in each month. In here, my mom can write whatever expenses she had throughout the month. It can be something that she pays regularly every month, like water, electricity, internet, and so on, and something that is more variable, like groceries, activities, and things like that. The brain dump page is going to stay empty aside from the decoration and the title. And speaking of that, we have space to write the titles now. So in the left page I wrote gastos, which means expenses. I usually write gastos mensais, that is monthly expenses, but since the title is quite big, I only wrote expenses. And then on the right page I wrote pensamentos, which means thoughts. I don't like the title brain dump, even though it's mostly known as that, so I use different wording for this page. In my own bullet journal, I call my brain dump the mind unwind, which I used after Jashi Corinne because I heard her using that and I thought it was genius. Then I just had to put some color on the spread, write the smaller titles, and decorate the right page with some butterflies and dragonflies, but also making sure they aren't visible from the cover spread because I want just the tapes to be visible. It's time for the final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give a like, subscribe, and comment down below a butterfly emoji to let me know you watched it till the end. This theme is minimal, it's elegant, it's whimsical, it's everything that I like to see. It's not heavy on collages like my March theme was, but sometimes it's fun to do something different from usual. And this theme came together really nicely, which surprised me because I didn't have a specific theme that I wanted to do. I just chose 2 tapes and went with it. And as soon as the waterfall tabs idea came to my head, I knew I had to do it justice. And I think I'll pat my back because it turned out very beautiful in my modest opinion. I'll leave everything that I can linked down below as usual, together with my affiliate links and discount codes if you want to use them at no extra cost for you. And with that, I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!